It's like, okay, I'm here with my former coaching client, Juliana, and she is the founder of the Expat Lounge. So today we're just going to chat about her business, where she was at back in the day in the corporate world, where she's at now. So, hi, Juliana, welcome. Thanks for chatting with me. And I'm just wondering if you could tell me a couple lines about yourself and what your business does.
Okay, well, hi Elise. It's good to see you again, and thanks for the invite. For everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Juliana, and I'm from Brazil originally, and my company consists in helping, focusing in the Brazilian market, right? Helping young professionals who want to launch an international career. So therefore the name, the Expat Lounge. So.
And specifically for Brazilian young professionals or anyone around the world?
Well, for the time being, let's focus on Brazilians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So you used to work in the corporate world. Now you are a full-time business owner, working with clients and building your brand online. So can you tell me a little bit about when you were in the corporate world and then the path that you took to get to where you're at today with your own business?
Yes. Well, I have a background in human resources, and I was also working, managing change projects for IT projects, actually, in organizations. And I was always really, really into human development. That's something that I loved doing the most. And the thing is, the corporate world, although I loved what I was doing, the corporate world had some, let's say, some downsides. For instance, I didn't really have the liberty to manage my own time, right? And plus, I was sort of burning out as well. So I was going through this period in my career that it was very hectic, and I started to feel that I needed to change a little bit, you know. So I decided that I wanted to continue doing what I was doing, but doing it in a different way, in a way that it would be better for me, more comfortable, and that would meet certain core values that I wanted to them to be present in my everyday work. So I already had an MBA back in Brazil, and I thought maybe I could go to academia, because throughout my teenage years, I also worked as a teacher, and I love teaching. And even though I graduated and I had my corporate job, I also had students as something that I was always doing. So that's some private students. I was teaching at language courses, and I just love it. So I figured maybe I could just do that. I could teach in my own field. So I decided, okay, maybe if I do a master, because I had the MBA, but not the Master of Science degree. If I did that, then I could pursue an MBA. A PhD. And then, that would also get me the freedom that I wanted, because when I was working as a teacher, I could teach, a few classes here in the afternoon, another few classes in the evening, some in the morning, so it's a different kind of routine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and you wanted a PhD and you said to get more freedom. How would the PhD, what path would the PhD put you on?
Well, because you can work with research, and then you could still be, for instance, in the corporate environment, but then as a consultant or as a researcher. And, I also like the environment of the classroom environment, because it's just a place where you're able to exchange ideas with people. And I love that kind of exchange. So to me, that would represent freedom as well, in terms of, it's a different kind of pressure. It's a different kind of culture, and time management for me is like one of the most important things. So I would be able to also manage better the hours that I was working, right? Instead of working like 60, 70 hours a week, I could work a normal week, and also have some time during the day to do other things that I needed to do or that I wanted to do. Maybe it's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon and I totally missed it because, I'm at the office until like 10 p.m. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you left your corporate job to pursue further schooling, or were you doing the same, or were you doing both at the same time?
No, when I was doing my PhD, I was doing it at the same time. I was doing it alongside my work. So that was also pretty overwhelming. But then when I decided to do the master, it was kind of the idea of being sort of a sabbatical in that way, in which I could say I'm just studying, right? So that's also something I wanted to slow down a little bit. So I did the master. I actually, when I applied to some universities, I got actually the first application that I made was for a university in Amsterdam, and I got a full scholarship. So
Wow.
I thought like, yeah, let's do this, right? So
Is that when you quit your job?
yeah, actually it was. I was already working. Actually, I had left my my 9 to 5 job already a few months before, and then I was working as a consultant in Brazil for another company. And but I already, like, when I entered there, I already told them I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to stay. I will. It's a startup, and I thought that was really interesting to also feel the startup experience. They were active they were active in my hometown for like 5 years only, and they were really growing. This was we're talking about pre-recession Brazil, so the market was really, active, and they were growing so much. And I got to know them through my own network, and we talked, and then they said, yeah, I think that we could maybe collaborate together. So they offered me a position there. And but I told them, yeah, but I also have this plan, because when you want to go abroad, it takes some time to plan. It's not something that you can just do at the drop of a hat, so I did plan 1 year ahead to be able to move to the Netherlands in this case. And in the meantime, I was I was working also with them, and for less than a year. And then when the time came, I left. And they actually also came up with the idea that maybe we could still contribute with each other remotely. We could still continue to work on some projects together. But turns out that it didn't really work out, also because then recession kicked in and things changed a lot. So also the demands changed a lot. And I also realized that European education has a whole different system than what I was used to. And when you say you're just studying, let me tell you, I mean, seriously, you have to, it's a full-time thing, really. You don't really have that much time for much more. So I'm in a way, I'm glad that it didn't work out, because I really needed that time to focus on my studies. And alongside, since I was pursuing a PhD, I also did the honors program. So I wanted to, get some extra credits for research. So I went to the Amsterdam Business Research Institute, and I did a project there too. And then in the end, I did also work a little bit as a researcher at the university after graduation. And that's when I realized that, that's also not my cup of tea. So
after all the schooling and all the moving.
Yeah, exactly. And that also got me thinking, I was thinking, how much does formal education, to some extent, how much does it really help you find the answers? Or it is really a combination of things, right? So
yeah,
I think that through my education, I was able to open some doors, but I also needed these other experiences to add on to them. So to add on to that. And there I was back again on square one, thinking, okay, what am I going to pursue? So I did find myself pursuing a little bit of, back to the whole idea of the corporate jobs in the meantime, because that was something that I knew how to do. But then I realized that also, Amsterdam is such an amazing place for startups, and they have this really great startup culture. And I saw a lot of people around me having all these fantastic ideas, and they were putting themselves out there, and they were testing it, and they were just going for it. And I thought, maybe I could do that. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me. I don't know if I'm an entrepreneur, but there's only one way to find out, right? So I decided to open my own company as well. I decided to call it the Expat Lounge, because I put together a few elements, like what do I have in my own experience that I could offer to the people in Amsterdam. I also considered, in the beginning, right, I considered that, okay, in Amsterdam, it's a city that hosts the biggest number of nationalities in the world. I think there are over 192 nationalities registered in the city. So I realized that myself as an expat, there was a gap in the market, and me having this background in coaching and human development and human resources, I just put all these pieces together and I thought there's something there that I could do. So I did start working with a few clients, but then it was the end of the year. It was like the holidays, November, December, and I went back home to see my family because I hadn't seen them in over 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that, once again, I wasn't able to keep that going, because when you hit that moment in which you need to do something remotely, then it seems like it wasn't working out, and my clients were not willing to work remotely. So, and this was around December, which was when we first met, right? So that's when I was thinking like, okay, maybe I should change my audience. Maybe I should also change a little bit of what I do or how I do it to adjust to this specific audience, because I do want to have this lifestyle in which I am location independent. I do want to have this lifestyle in which I can travel, and I can do that at the drop of my hat. Managing my time is also, I think, connected to managing also where I'm going to do it, managing space and time in that way. Yeah.
Now, the clients that you did have, were you working with them in person? Is that why it didn't work for you to be abroad in Brazil and for them to be in Amsterdam? They weren't down with that because everything they had was in person with you.
Exactly. And they were, because it's all a matter, I think, of finding the right audience, right? It's a matter of profile. So the expectation that I had initially with those clients, when I say we, me and them, was that we would interact in person. So when I changed that and said, okay, could we maybe continue doing what we're doing remotely? They were like, yeah, but I don't know how to work remotely. I've never done that before, and I'm not really open to that. So, it's just a question of profile, right? So some people prefer to work remotely, or some people really don't mind one or the other, but some people really prefer to work in person.
So how did you make that shift from this in-person business to fully online, being wherever you want to be?
I found you.
Yeah, so we met in December. So from your perspective, what changed in your business by us working together?
It did change a lot in terms of the format, because we did come through this. I was going through also this moment in which I was questioning whether I was working, in the right field, right? We were also looking into, okay, but what skills do I have? What can I offer? And I was going back and forth with other things, because I guess that we all have experience in different fields, or our skills can be transferable to different contexts, right? So it took me a little while to kind of figure that out. And I also remember that I was feeling that I was not technically, I didn't have like all the technical preparation to do, for instance, like the traditional coaching that I was doing back in 2012 and 11. I think the last time I did it, it was like 2012. So 10, 11, and 12, I was doing that. Then I got into this IT project and I did a little bit of coaching, but it wasn't really my focus. So I didn't feel like I still had it in me. I needed some updating. So I sort of decided to, maybe I should offer something else, which what I was doing. I was actually consulting for startups, and I had some students as well in Amsterdam. So, and then when we, during the process of the Mind the Gap coaching, which was a program that we did together, it was an interesting discovery path, because I tried to sort of go around that or run away from that, but in the end, it's like what you know how to do. It's you, and you should not run away from it. So what I discovered was just being who I am and doing what I know how to do, but doing it in a way that can also adjust to the lifestyle that I was looking for. So I think that was very valuable.
Yep, exactly. You already had such a vast array of skills and experience and education. It was going through the process of applying it to a new business format that you could run online from anywhere, but also grow your business and your brand online too. Because typically, like, in-person businesses rely on who you know and referrals, which are still great ways to generate business. But the online world is so powerful with being able to expand your reach beyond your warm network. So where is your business at today? It's been about 6 or 7 months since we first met.
Yeah.
What are you doing today with your business?
Well, today, that's interesting because those are the skills that I actually learned with our work together, right? Because and that's exactly what I needed. I needed to understand how I could translate those skills into that specific context. So today, I am truly location independent. I can travel wherever I want for as long as I want, work-wise, right? I can because I have my business, and clients that I'm working with currently are based in the Netherlands, the United States, Brazil, and Portugal.
Wow. And you're not even in the Netherlands right now, right?
No, right now I'm in Portugal. Yeah. It's sunnier here.
Yeah. Yeah. You're living the digital nomad dream. So
Yeah, I am. I really,
yeah.
I mean, like I know that, when we say like the digital nomad dream, there are, pros and cons to it, but overall, I feel like this is a kind of lifestyle that suits me best than what I was doing before. So
Awesome.
I'm definitely happier, and yeah, I'm very, very grateful for that. So,
Awesome. So your main business is coaching clients.
mm-hmm.
Are there any other aspects to your business that you've currently built, or are you planning on implementing in the future?
Yeah, because that's associated to internationalizing one's career, right? So it could take, there are a few projects that I have that are like kind of waiting in line, right? So initially, the idea is the first project, right, is to focus on those young professionals or even students, right? Those who want to do a similar path that I did, that they want to find a study abroad, and then they want to, build their career maybe in that place where they graduated or anywhere else in the world, but a way that they can make their career international without also losing the connection to their original country, because it's always important to, to keep your network in that way. So through my own experience, I could also help others do that, and through my own background. And so that would be the first project. But I'm also I'm also coaching already established professionals. So I have mostly in the Netherlands and in Portugal, I have more senior professionals that are also entrepreneurs, but they are looking to develop their business.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So a lot of coaching for the most part right now.
Yeah. And and that's the thing. And since I was worried about, okay, but do I still, are my skills up to date and everything? So yeah, that's also another thing. I took another coaching course. I went through the entire, evaluation process and everything. And I just got myself up to date. It's like, hey, if you feel like if you don't have like the skill at that point that you feel that you need it, just, go get it. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of skills, looking back now, because it's been several years since your time in the corporate world to where you're at now, what skills did you always have in those jobs that you're finding you're using today in your online business? And then second question is, did you have to learn new skills to run your online business?
Okay, well, I would say communication is a skill that I always needed to work with. When you work with people, and you need to, that's the first thing, you have to communicate. So the communication also from an international perspective, which was actually the kind of consulting that I was doing back in Brazil. We were also assisting companies that wanted to internationalize their businesses as well. And it's all about learning how to manage and how to navigate cross-cultural communication. So, and that, believe it or not, that will define, the success or the failure, for instance, of a project, of an engineering project, or of a negotiation of any kind of venture. So that was a skill that I already had. My whole life history also, like my international experience, I spent half my life in 2 different countries. I lived in the US, I lived in Brazil, then I decided to move to the Netherlands. So I've been around, and that also brought me a lot of baggage ever since I was born. I was practically born an expat. So it really speaks to my own personal history, right? And then, of course, the skills that I acquired with my technical training and my academic training, right? I'm a psychologist, and then I specialized in organization psychology, human resources, and yada, yada, yada. So I put that all in this, into one basket, and I said, okay, this is what I can do. But I was lacking the skills to do what I do in the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's something that I needed to learn. In fact, like one of the things that I still need to learn is, we've been talking about this is like, okay, putting myself out there because I am a little shy to do this. So like recording this video and doing these things, I think this is, excellent training for me to also be able to do that. So I needed to be better acquainted with the online world and learn how to translate these skills into that context. That's been a very, very big learning curve.
That's what I was going to ask you next. What do you think you've really learned the most, or what's been the biggest takeaway since transitioning to the online world? And it's funny because when you work as a coach, you are spending most of your time communicating with people, but there's something, usually it's a mental block when it comes to putting yourself out there, like on your social channels, on your website, to everyone, like no
it's
longer
terrifying.
just one person. Exactly. It is. It totally is. And it's something you have to like slowly, it's a muscle you have to slowly exercise in a way. And
absolutely,
it sounds cliche, but with time it gets easier. So, so would you say that's the biggest learning since transitioning to online is just getting more comfortable putting yourself out there?
Yes, and also learning how to market myself in that context as well, because it takes different marketing skills. It's a different kind of communication as well.
Yes.
So it's not so much of a matter of what you do, but it's how you do it, and that changes a lot.
Okay, one last question. And see if anything comes to mind, but do you have any advice with everything that you've shared and everything that you've learned, especially in the last 6 months? Is there one piece of advice that would stand out to you that you would say to someone who maybe they're still in the corporate world and they're wondering how they translate their skills to the online world, or maybe they're just starting their online business and they don't really know where to start? Is there something that you would share with them to help them on that path?
Okay. Well, since we were talking about, okay, this may sound cliche, I also wanted to say something that may sound cliche, but I'm drawing from my own experience. Like I said, I've been back and forth with ideas of what to do, and I got lost in the process a little bit. Just first of all, be true to yourself. Like just do the thing that you feel deep inside that you know how to do and that you do well, because things will start falling into place. An example of that was, for instance, my website, the expatlounge.com, isn't even launched yet, and I am already working with a few clients throughout, the work that we developed together. At some point, you were assigning me, okay, so for the website, we should focus on this and that. So I had some deliverables, right, that I had to, and then all of a sudden I was like, Elise, I can't, because this week I got 2 new clients and this happened. And so it was before the launch. I mean, the website is still not launched. If you enter there's like a coming soon page. So because what happens is people around you who know you, they will validate that, they will understand that you are the go-to person for that kind of job or service that you're offering. So, when people around you understand that you are a reference for that, they will start looking for your services, and then they will start referring you to their friends. So some of my clients are friends of friends, and then so on and so forth. Like last week, I did get a phone call from a girl who lives in Leiden in Netherlands, a city called Leiden. So I've never even been to Leiden except like by train. And it's like, yeah, I got your number from this other person. I don't even know who that other person is. Wow. And I was like, yeah, so that's the thing, like somebody who tells somebody else about you, who tells somebody else. And because, people just recognize that that's something that you really do well and that you really like doing. And the moment that I felt that I was lost the most, when I was thinking, well, maybe I should do something that, let's say maybe that society validates as this or as that. And it wasn't really true to what I knew and liked. So I know it sounds cliche, but I mean, really, from my own experience, that is what really works.
And I think that's a huge testament to your experience, your services, the fact that before you even launched a website, we were still working on your messaging, how to present yourself in the online world. You were still getting clients. You were still like getting booked full with clients. And it also goes to show that a website is not what sells you. It's not what sells someone to book with you, right? They book with you because they've either heard a good thing from a friend as in a referral, or they just believe in you. Like they know a little bit about you and they believe that you're going to help them get there. The website is a nice addition. It helps you learn how to craft your services, craft your story. But like from your experience, the most powerful way to start working with clients and get booked is, tap into that warm network you already have, deliver an amazing client experience, and then they're going to send their friends to and anyone else that they know who's looking for your services.
But that I also had to learn because I didn't know how to leverage that. I mean, this was an already existing network, but I didn't know how to work with that. So that was also something that I learned.
What are some ways that you did that while we're here? what are some things that you did to let your warm network know?
Well, first of all was to define, I remember that in the beginning, it wasn't like completely 100% defined, but it was still like, okay, I am offering services within this ballpark. And then I created like an online group, and in my case, it was a Facebook group, in which I gathered people that I knew that were either, in my case, because we're talking about international careers and expats and students and such. I remember that I had like a few students that I prepared them for the TOEFL exam, and I had some other the clients that they work in companies or engineers that needed to manage projects with a multicultural team, and from those consulting days and stuff. So, and plus family and friends that know about my life history, and some of them already went on exchange for some time, or did study or did work abroad for a year or two. I got all these people in together, and I just asked them. I said like, okay, I decided to create this group because I am thinking about offering something within this ballpark, and I explained a little bit. And I know that you are a group of people who are interested in traveling, or interested in internationalizing careers or businesses, or and such. And I'd like to know your opinion. I'd like to know, what are the things what are the services that you wish you had, but maybe that it's not out there yet, and I feel like I can offer this or this and that. What are your thoughts on that? And, then one thing led to another. And then of course, the whole coaching process with you was also, of course, it played a major role in this as well. So, putting all that together, all these elements together, that's somehow how it started. It actually started like the first referrals, the first clients were starting from there inside the Facebook group.
Exactly. Just getting that validation that your idea is something that people need. And then if they really want it, they hire you for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just remembered, not only Portugal, United States, the Netherlands, and Brazil, there's also Canada. I have a client from Canada as well.
Wow. So you have an international roster of clients. How many clients do you have between all these countries?
9.
Wow. That is busy sounding.
It's busy. And that's why I'm saying, like, on one side, I think that I'm sort of glad that I'm not really working right now with the website up and running, because I'm thinking it's also important to give myself some time to let this project grow a little more mature as well. And also see the first results from that. And also that, I don't want to keep myself too busy into that, because I do understand it also, the website is not, like you mentioned, it's not the most essential element for you to start getting work. It is in fact your network, because those are the people who know, like, and trust you, right? But the website does give you also extra credibility. And it does, you can get some cold leads, right? From your website. So I'm at a point right now that I cannot really put anyone else on board yet. Maybe in about 2 months' time I will, because then I'm going to start, wrapping up a few of these projects. So then that's what I'm going to see. So, but in the meantime, I do plan on launching my website before 2 months. But I'm saying, like, for the time being, I think it's important to sort of also manage my own time in terms of, like, not overdoing it, and seeing where this goes as well. Right.
Yeah, that's a perfect situation to be in. You're busy, you're booked out as is. You don't need the website to drive additional traffic or leads. And then when you're ready to, you will incorporate that into your business, and it's going to bring about a different system into your business, you know, of adding in people who are finding you from your website. But I think you're doing exactly the right way. Like, you've leveraged your warm network. It's keeping you busy on a full time. You're slowly building your online brand through your own ways, through Facebook group, through your Instagram. You don't necessarily.
Instagram.
Yeah, there's Instagram, which you grew really quickly too. You did a really good job with that.
Thank you.
And yeah, you don't need the website. Like you said, down the road, the website serves as a way to validate what you are doing and who you are, but it's not necessary to get started. So yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think we've covered more than I expected, actually, but it's been really valuable for me to hear from your experience what the path of the last 6 to 8 months have been like for you. And I think a lot of people will find this useful too, to hear what it's like to go from corporate to education to traveling and moving abroad to putting those skills into your own online business. So
yeah, it's been quite a trajectory. So many changes. Yeah, but it's been a lot of fun. I mean, some moments where, like, you know, it's ups and downs, because you're changing your life in so many ways that, of course, in some moments it can be a little scary. But then it's also really rewarding. So it's also about managing your emotions throughout the process, right? But it does totally pay off in the end. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you again for chatting with me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really nice chatting with you again. All right. And thanks so much for everything.